Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I am going to be just talking about it and giving you a bit of an overview on the Owepowe or Owepowe dots. I'm still not sure how I'm supposed to pronounce that, my bad. But basically these dots come in 4 different variants. So the variants are black eagle, as you can see here. We have black eagle mini, we have white eagle mini, and then we have white eagle. So these are 4 different variants. They're all a bit different. So in terms of the large skates are going to come with, I think, 32 in the pack, and then the smaller ones are going to come with about 40. Let me just open that up and show you. So it'll come with, there's about 5 missing here, and it'll come with 2 of these, and then I'll show you a pack of the minis. It will again, this one's also missing about 5. It'll be filled up and come with 2 trays of these. So you'll get a standard amount of dots that you usually get with other dots. The mini dots themselves are more closer to standard dots, like let's say X-ray pad. So it's really regular size dots and large. As you can see, they might be slightly smaller, but they're about the same size. So that's pretty much what that is. So let's go into the White Eagle mini ones first. So the White Eagle mini ones are super fast. They're by far the smoothest of all of them. I'm just going to move all the packs to the side. It's by far the smoothest. It's by far the fastest. These feel great on every surface I've tried. They feel super fast on glass, and then they feel pretty fast and smooth as well on cloth. What I would say though, on super fast glass pads like the one right in front of me, there definitely might be a bit of a lack of control. Like it just might be too slippery for some people depending on the game, but these feel insanely good on cloth. And again, they feel good on glass. They just might not work for everyone because there's no control there. So then the regular White Eagles, again, so they also feel pretty, you can see they're definitely slower, a bit slower on cloth. On glass, I would say they're practically the same amount of speed though, so maybe like slightly slower, but it's relatively the same speed on glass than the minis. In terms of fitting, they might not fit on some mice, as you can see right there. It might fit perfectly or it might not fit, but I did notice that there's going to be less wobble with these when it comes to just putting them. A lot of dot skates have wobble, so these will just have less when it comes to just putting them on the mouse. I will say you still have to put them on well, but let's say this mouse I'm holding right now, the base was a bit uneven and it did have wobble with regular dots, and while gaming it did solve it for this one. When you're spinning it around, you will still notice some wobble, but while gaming you don't notice the wobble anymore on glass, so that solved that. And again, these feel pretty smooth on cloth, pretty smooth on glass. Again, both these White Eagle ones, like they might have a little lack of control on glass, but on any cloth pad you can't really go wrong with them. And even on slower glass pads or whatever, as long as you don't mind they're not really being control, again, you can't go wrong with either of these. So let's get into the control ones because these are speed. Let's start with the Black Eagle regular size. These are control as well. These are pretty slow. Again, they might not fit on some mice because of the size of the dots, and they feel pretty solid on glass pads. Like they don't feel too muddy or too slow. They do feel a bit muddy or slow, especially on like balance pads. On cloth, there's no speed at all. Like I will tell you, these don't feel great on cloth unless you want a super controlled experience, but they feel pretty okay on glass. I definitely, if you want control on glass, I could recommend these. They're fine. There are probably better control skates for glass though, like Obsidian Airs, but again, these are fine. They are, interestingly enough, not as controlled as the small ones, even though there's more surface area. But these are just a good skate where they're okay. They're going to be okay on glass. They're going to feel nice and maybe on like a super fast cloth pad. But if you're using a balance or control cloth pad, don't bother using these. In terms of the Black Eagle minis, these are super controlled. They will feel muddy on pretty much any surface you use. I was like putting them on the fastest glass pads I have, and they just felt super muddy, super slow. Like I was playing fine with them, but they just felt very slow, very muddy. They're going to have like no movement on cloth at all. This is a balance pad. It's a Tangdao. Like you can see, there's no movement at all. It's super controlled. They might be a little better on a speed pad, but again, I wouldn't recommend using these on cloth. And if you're going to use these on glass, like there will be some more movement and they are more usable on a very glass pad, but pretty much I would only recommend using these on a super fast glass pad. But again, I would try to avoid these. I just think for most people they're too slow and they feel very muddy. They don't feel as good as the other three variants. So again, I would probably just stay away from the small ones unless you want the most controlled experience possible. So I'm just going to show you again some speed of all of these. So side to side and up and down. I'll show it on the cloth pad as well. Okay, now I'll show again the Black Eagles. And then let me show again the White Eagle minis. Put them on glass. And then finally, let's show the White Eagles again. So in terms of price, I'm not exactly sure how much these cost. When I got these, they are unreleased. When I release these review, they might be out. But as long as they're within normal skate range, within $8 to $16, obviously the cheaper they are, the more they're worth. But I would say all of them except the Black Eagle minis are worth it. I, again, would just avoid these unless you want insane control. But I'd say you can't go wrong with these White Eagle ones. And then the Black Eagle ones will be really good for some people, or they'll be fine. So overall, if you want to get these skates, I can definitely, once they're out, as long as they're reasonably priced, I can definitely recommend these, and I think they're a good option. Obviously, depending on how they're priced, but I played fine on all of them with all my surfaces. Again, except the minis, these all felt great. And if you're just looking for some new skates that are interesting, like these are some of the fastest and smoothest ones, yeah, I can recommend it. And that's pretty much it. See you in the next one. Peace.